There we go. Okay. Right, we're back. We're approaching the tail end of industrial. At the very least, I'm definitely more than halfway done. Probably more than two-thirds done, although it's been a while since the last time I played, so I don't have the tech tree 100%. Let's see here. Okay, maybe not two-thirds done, but definitely more than halfway done. Shark studies. It's a good spot for a farm, because it has barley. Yeah, so is there anything I want to talk about? Ooh, subdued. A bunch of subdued sea creatures. Great, that means I need to. Okay. Need to find spots to put them. I know a shark will be useful, but it's something that's going to be a bit more down the line than the other possibilities. When it comes to how useful it will be. It's another. I was hoping you would be a shark, but nope, you're a humpback whale. It's frankly too big to be easily done, which frankly is not what I would have preferred. Okay, I do have an idea. It's frankly a pretty random topic, but it's something I've been thinking on for a while, so I'll at least have a bit of a ways to go before I run out of things to talk about. Well, there is a concept called, well, Great Man History. Never particularly liked it. But, to some extent, it is possibly accurate. I'm going to have to explain this. In ye olden days, when politics was dominated by the concept of divine right and whatnot, so, you know, ye olden days, okay, you've dropped off those, so head back here. Great Man History was the most common one, because after all, it was fairly sensible of an idea to, well, a learned class that was thoroughly convinced on the idea of divine right. Oh, you have a university, so. And well, if you believe that some people are, you know, just naturally better than others due to their birth, bleh, that it makes sense that to see the big drivers of history as, you know, the people sitting in the big chair. You know, the important people. The ones that history actually cares about. Etc., etc., etc. Gas power plant, oil power plant, subway station, these things. Cable cars. There might be more production buildings that come up down the line, so don't bother extending any further, especially considering that there are some buildings that require cars that I haven't built yet. Auto repair shop requires automobiles. Right. I'll figure out the rest later. Oh yeah, new city. Okay. The mining camp is top priority. It always is and will continue to be top priority. It just provides too much production. But I will do the flint gatherer first, just to get that extra little bit going. Yeah. Like, in a culture seeped with that sort of an idea, it makes sense. But there is the competing theory, which I don't remember the name of. You know, in the intro, you know what? I'm gonna take a moment and look things up. Give me a minute. This one, languages. Okay. Okay, it was popularized later than I expected in the 18th century, but to some degree I guess it makes sense. It went from being the primary way to view history to needing to be codified because competing views started to appear. Those didn't really appear in full until later. But yes, there are some oppositional, some ideas developed in opposition. I mean, well, yeah, like I said, Great Man Theory did make sense in the 1700s because that was also Yeah, divine right was codified then as a proper political theory instead of just, well, accepted as a matter of fact, generally speaking. Of course, this obviously it took quite a bit of time. Okay, subway, tire factory parking lot. That order, please. Okay, since you've got the ancient custom set up, now it's time to build a tannery. And then I need to ensure that I can actually build the engineering school, which provides 17 production and 20 turns. So, trading post. And the 18th century was also where absolutism became a thing. At least in full. Where both the theory and technology required to build massive centralized states was coming in. Yeah, and then Napoleon happened, which tends to confound a lot of things when it comes to the list of imagined possibilities. Because, you know, it's Napoleon. Okay, so the carpenter gives me +3 production. Yeah, 3 sounds right, so... build those, and the ancient customs. Actually. Rattan Grove, then the carpenter, and then the ancient customs. And, well, Napoleon was pretty central to the development of Europe, so... But an opposition is usually, well, there are two main competing possible trends towards what is important in deciding the course of history. The first one is, well, I'm not sure which came historically first. I think dialectical materialism? Yeah. It was the idea that instead of, you know, great men being the thing, it was really the shifting around of forces within society. Usually material forces.
Tell me what you do, and I will tell you what you are.
+6 production from farm supply. Neat. Plus a lot of food-oriented buildings, including the modern mill. But I don't. Well, okay, so yeah, I think I can talk about the specifics later, maybe. Let's get on to the next one, which is uh, people's history, which instead focuses on mass movements of common people and how they influence society. This one could be pretty big under the right circumstances. Like, for example, both Russian revolutions would not have happened without mass movements. Nor would the French Revolution have happened. Okay, so, like, each one has its problems. I've already mentioned that great man theory tends to have issues with acknowledging the fact that, you know, it's not only the big people whose decisions matter. If that were the case, we probably would have gone to nuclear war multiple times over. But no, it was smaller people that often made the decision not to do the ludicrously dumb thing. And actually, you know, not launch nukes. Dialectical materialism has, well, to some degree, lack of scope. And also, to me, an uncomfortable amount of determinism involved. Because, among other things, it removes the human factor from the ideas, from history, which is, I don't like. Again, that removes the random chance factor. A lot of things happen because of random chance. It's not unreasonable to imagine that this applies more often than you might think. And completely removing that factor from consideration probably isn't actually the correct thing to do. Because if material forces are the main provider in society, well, provider of the direction of history, then assuming that, condition A means condition B, means condition C, that means condition A always results in condition C. Excepting, say, maybe natural disasters. And while natural disasters obviously changed the course of history multiple times over, I don't think they're that strong to guarantee that certain things happen in certain ways. Which again is something kinda sorta posited by dialectical materialism. Plus, it's missing several factors that make it incomplete if you consider just material stuff. After all, it's not just the, physical world that influences human action. Ideas do as well. Which, by the way, if you ever admit this out loud to, a very orthodox Marxist, they'll accuse you of being an idealist. Or at least a Marxist that knows their stuff. If they accuse you of being an idealist out of the blue just because you prefer, a certain ideology over another, yeah. In proper Marxist terminology, you're an idealist if you believe that it is more than just the material world that influences human actions, which of course is the case. People act based upon what their beliefs of the world. I don't mean anything spiritual or whatnot. I think I meant more of how they believe the world works. I think I've already said this. How you interpret the world is dependent on your own mind state, your own worldview, and how you interpret it, in turn, influences how you react to it. This is supposed to be a perfectly reasonable way of thinking. A perfectly reasonable way of thinking. And yet, that gets you called an idealist. Like it's an insult. Yeah. Center for short studies. I could use more of those. And people's history works best with mass movements, which aren't always going to exist. I mean, sure. I personally think that the whole population of an empire is probably more important in deciding the direction of that empire than the people actually ruling that empire. But unless they actually organize to put that power into force, at worst, it's just going to be a nagging thought in the back of the head of, the ones that call the shots, that if they do the wrong thing, they might not live to correct that mistake. At least in the more violent times of history. Nowadays, that's much less likely to occur. which I'm not going to comment too much on. Oops. Sorry about that.
The icy layers of the upper atmosphere contain conundrums enough to be worthy of humanity's greatest efforts.
Ooh, National Weather Service. Ah, it's outside of my influence? Oh, forts. Of course, forts. So, of course, I personally think that probably what would be the most accurate, best depiction of history would involve a mixture of all methods. I know. Apparently, isn't it so odd that synthesis is once again the best possible option? No, of course it's not. Right, I need to actually take the time to improve over there. Improve things over there. Okay, yeah, so farm supply, no university, so and build these first because they're quick enough to be pretty much instantaneous. Okay, natural gas, coal, oil, subway, industrial park, skyscraper. Anything more than that, I'm a bit too uncertain on to be 100% in favor. Yeah, not technicality. I should actually wait on the tannery. Yeah, I should wait on the tannery until I actually build the leather because leather factory is a replacement. On the other hand, it provides a lot of production, so it's definitely one of the bigger opportunity cost questions. But yeah, the best method is really just a synthesis of it all. Sure, I don't like great history, and I don't like how dialectical materialism has basically become the numerology for Marxism, is probably the best way to put it. Yeah, because it's a fairly accurate way of describing it. For anyone that doesn't know, if I remember correctly, numerology is the practice of using number patterns to study the Bible. Yeah. Is it somewhat insulting to, a bunch of people who proclaim that they believe that science is important? Absolutely. But that's half the point, even. Health camp. Construction firm. Gas, oil. Oh. Build the assembly plant first, of course. Assembly station. You know what? Someone's gonna build the automobile power, factory by that point, so. Yeah, use a synthesis. Because the fact of the matter is that while great man theory is awful for the entirety of history, it actually is reasonably accurate under certain circumstances. And they are actually fairly simple. It is actually fairly simple which circumstances they are. Authoritarian situations. When I say it out loud, it seems obvious, but it is true. Great people making great decisions to influence the course of history is most accurate of an idea when the political situation is in such a manner, when all the political decisions are made by one or two people, maybe a small council, etc. Military history also kind of applies to this as well, especially when it's a very hierarchical chain of command. So when you look at a history that's full of, well, that, great people making, if you're looking at the history of a country that has for a long time had that sort of political structure, an authoritarian one where only one person has the say, at least for a while. Let's get you the ironworks then. And obviously, a historical perspective that focuses on the decisions of these extremely powerful and important people will be more accurate, simply because that's how the society is structured. However, if you take it on to a country that has where this sort of thing isn't as important, like say ancient Greece, at least until, well, maybe not, well, at least until you get to the, Macedonian conquests. This is, of course, pretty true, as long as you take Greece in a whole. The great man theory doesn't work as well. Simply because there's too many great men to look at that are all making their own decisions based upon what they think is the correct thing to do. Again, based upon the situation they find themselves in. There we go. Similarly, dialectical materialism can also work pretty well in certain circumstances. Usually countries that are fairly stable, but with noticeable societal divides that cause tensions to appear. Yeah, now that I have automobiles, I can do the bus station, the auto repair shop, and the gas station. And also the truck shipping warehouse. For more trade stuff. Thliocene remains. Neat. Especially under circumstances where various ideas are, where, at least for the moment, ideas are somewhat losing their sway. At least the old, specific ideas. And everything is being too hotly debated in order for, you know, any specific idea to have a real grip on everything else. Oh yeah, right. Factories and whatnot need to be done. And there's the industrial farms that pretty important. Yeah, those turn into agroforests, so it's fine. Okay. Cottage industry, oil refinery. And then we can do the university. Maybe. 5 times 6 is 30. No. Yeah, anything further, I'm uncertain about, so. Which, you know, is actually a pretty good way to...
Then
I don't
one
know.
fine morning, she puts on a New York station. You know, her life was saved by rock and roll.
Yeah, with radio I get a whole bunch of culture. As well as the broadcast tower, which I can get for free in large quantities by... well, Eiffel Tower. Also, it's important for the National Weather Service. Oh. Okay. Yeah, I think I already have the Thliocene remains in every possible city on Ethiopia. No, I don't. Well. Okay. Now it's built. Yeah. Um... And People's history is honestly amazing for periods of big instability, as well as when you really want to know the nitty-gritty details of what life was like living at a certain time period. At least for most people. It's not going to be nearly as effective when talking about, you know, the rich and powerful and influential, etc. But that's the, you know, latter's lives tend to be fairly well documented. Comparatively, so. You shouldn't have a hard time figuring out how stuff was like. Assembly plant. And then industrial farms. Actually, no. Assembly plant, then coal power plant in order to power the assembly plant and the factory. Technically, I should build the coal power plant first, and then the assembly plant, and then the industrial farms. There. Okay. Although I probably should have set my capital to do something else too. Oh, neat. Thank you. It's just a random tile with an ancient forest. Start logging them. Okay, gas, oil, skyscraper, clockwork workshop, funerary services, power plant, industrial park, subway station. Okay, just go down the line. Skip the cannery for the moment. And these things for the moment. Okay, bricks, candles, tannin, telephone network, you, and you. Okay, assembly plant is 111 production. Just snatch that. And the oil refinery is 37. The industrial farms are 49. And I'd rather grab these before grabbing the hydro plant because they're just fast to build. University, farm supply, road signs. Anything further, I'm going to wait on. Again, future circumstances may change. And I want to be sure. Okay, assembly plant. Parts maker. Do we have electricity? Yeah, this is on Neonesia. Maybe not the parts maker just yet. The industrial farms give me more production, so than the parts maker. This is still going to take like 70 turns, so... Factory. Nothing else I can build on the tile. So... Oh, I finally can build on the tile. Finally. But yeah, people's history tends to be much more useful in times of mass movements. Either great upheaval or during with especially democratic political conditions. Which is why great man theory became less and less relevant overall as time passed. At least after around 1800 or so. Of course, oddly enough, in situations involving, you know, Marxist countries, great man theory became viable again, which is so strange, almost as if they were authoritarian. Ha ha ha. You know, dictatorships and all that. But yeah, it's not actually that useless, Great Man Theory. It just works under very specific circumstances. Specifically, authoritarian ones. Where it actually is the case that only a small number of people make the real decisions. At least overall. Specifics can and will vary depending on circumstances. Okay, 32 and 36 turns. That is better than all the other options, isn't it? The factory unlocks a whole bunch of other stuff, so... Wait, I should double check. Yeah, you have ancient customs, and you've already built that as well. Okay, yep. Factory. Factory it is. Sorry about that. And... yeah, I don't really have much else to say. I did do a bit of dithering, but I can't dither forever. Okay, assembly plant. Industrial farms. Farm supply. Yeah, that's reasonable. Natural gas power plant. Coal power plant has already been built here, hasn't it? Okay, oil. Subway. Industrial park as well.
I must study politics and war, that my sons may have liberty to study mathematics and philosophy.
Oh, Blitz is unlocked. Technically. I mean, Hunter Force acts as Blitz, so... there's nobody nearby, so... oh, whoops. I mean, with these tiles, there's really no city near enough in order to actually use them. Not until I start settling the interior of Neonesia, which is a while away. Although I will probably work towards consolidating portions of the interior before going for the, entire coastline settled. Because that is a lot. I'm already working on it. It is already a lot. Admittedly, I haven't actually built any settlement units this session, so... but I'm still working on it. Just give me time. Gotta get from point A to point B, and all that. Oh! I don't think you can theoretically obtain any more upgrades. So... maybe heroic too, but it does seem that you're not capable of learning it. Oh, well, then again, yeah, maybe hunter units can't get it. At all. Center for Whale Studies. Okay, so I can build that in a new city, the Center of Whale Studies. Neat. Oh, I can upgrade you to an iron frigate. Nice. I don't need to give you Blitz because you already have Blitz, and Blitz has the penalty of minus 25% combat. XP earned. Which is actually kind of bad, so... Let's get you Rolling Thunder. And I'll upgrade you. Almost like nothing happened. Okay, this tile needs infrastructure built, and I will provide eventually. Ooh, construction firm. Okay, some production. I should actually build a mammoth farm first. Camp. Or, you know, the assembly plant. That would be a bright idea, building the assembly plant. Okay. And substation, and I'd say for the city any further would be, early. Very early. Plus steampunk, if I choose to do anything with it, might cause some oddities. Yeah, I already feel a bit like I've talked too much. Great. Not a good sign. Okay, yep. Alright, just go down the list until you get those, and this. So there's nothing that can... The telephone network... Yeah. Okay, da. Build change customs. Okay. Then again, it's only +4 production. Okay, fine. I'll wait on it. Okay, assembly plant always has priority. The oil refinery is also very good to build. Beyond that, Mammoth Camp first. The copper mine's going to be a while away before it becomes helpful, so... Though how far away? Okay, the traffic signals are... Yeah. You're fine. You are fine as well. Okay, I probably should build the skyscraper. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Subway station. Put these. This. Okay. Swap to put in the copper mine after that. This. Telephone network. One's here, they give me 2 production. 1 production, 1 production. That. Trade route buffs, because those are inconsistent on the amount of production they actually provide.
There is nothing in machinery, there is nothing in embankments, and railways, and iron bridges, and engineering devices to oblige them to be ugly. Ugliness is the measure of imperfection.
Yep. Of course, there is, the old beauties in the eye of the beholder. Ooh, got a new level. Okay. Let's go for scientific. Oh, no, negative. Neat. Okay. We're producing even more science now. Like, wildlife conservation now only takes 7 turns to do. I can go for a while longer. My voice is starting to feel tired again, but yeah. Okay, the Golden Gate Bridge requires that I have that bridge in a city. Well, there's the the free broadcast tower in every city. Okay, Musket Pioneer. There's 10 here, so yeah, just mine it. There's zero reason not to mine it. Well, there is a reason, but not enough of a good reason. Yeah, I can keep going into wildlife conservation is done. Especially since the new scientific 2 personality trait is going to very much jump how far I can manage to reach. Down, well, how fast I can go down the trajectory, really. Jeez. Any cities here built a university recently? No. Come on. Manta Ray is a perfect, there we go, unit to make a marine institute with. Because I can't get any of the special uh, study centers off of it. Okay, there is good reason to build steampunk, and the traction engine workshop is really the main point of this. Because plus 10% production with power. It's not an amazing increase, but it is still fairly notable in how much it can provide. So I will build it in time. Um, it's definitely one of those things that falls under eventually. Because it is steampunk, so I need to build the culture for it. Just like how I need to build the culture for clockpunk in order to unlock those other buildings. The clockpunk buildings. I mean, eventually they'll get replaced with actual real buildings that could fulfill their functions using real technology instead of just fake tech, I guess, is the way to put it. Oh boy. We do have electricity. Okay. So, grass gatherer. Cottage industry is 18 and 8 turns. That is very good with regards to efficiency. Avoid the town maker. Send the bricks. Okay. The leadsmith is as far as I'm going to go without that. Anything more beyond that is... Sure. Yes. That's enough for me for that. For now. I don't want to make the queues too long for fairly obvious reasons that, well, tech can change around the calculus of what is effective and what isn't. Okay, this tile is actually possible to use. 1111 or 94. Or 094. Let's go with that. No cities get enough food production from, well, water tiles. Have I built the seawall here? Just out of curiosity. I think so? I forgot what it looks like. I mean, I have an idea of what it looks like, but I'm trying to go through the, without scrolling the mouse through all of this. I don't remember where I would find it either. You know what? Let's just go back to here and assume that I've already built it. I'm afraid of that not being true, but I can't do that much about it without actually checking through the list of buildings that are already built. And I don't feel like doing that right now. Okay. Yeah, seawalls. Okay. Yep. Good. It's only one production per sea tile, but when most of the tiles are sea tiles, it helps, even if not much. Now, when you have over plus 100% production, thanks to just 2 buildings, to factor in the assembly plant, it does become less important, doesn't it? The exact numbers. Oh, the industrial. Oh. Industrial farms. Before the farm supply. I didn't realize that that city hadn't built those yet. Yeah, the bridges I'm going to wait on because Golden Gate Bridge can get me bridges in every city for free. So why not? Also, I pushed forward. I pushed through all the. This is why I do the tails, partially. I've got wildlife conservation now.
I don't want Daddy's passion to ever end. I want to help endangered wildlife just like he did.
Achievement environmental is now a possibility. Oh, I must have captured at least one animal. Okay. I'm not surprised that this city is finished. What do I want to do with you? I'm not building the gateway arch. I'm saving for Neonesia because it's a bigger continent. For anything that applies to all cities on the continent. Yeah. I'm saving the Versailles for another city. Copy Palace. Hermitage? That's not very useful here. Wasn't there an Einstein's laboratory somewhere that gives +1 production to engineers? There it is. Yeah, let's do that. That or I can build steampunk. Tough question. Well, let's get Yon culture, because I can build that immediately in the city. So, why not build it? Ooh, shark studies. Not shark studies, whale studies. Just these two? Okay. Alright, I'm gonna call it here. I did get enough culture for a new personality trait, so tech is going faster again. Like, these used to be 10 turns, now this takes 9 turns. Which is very, very neat. Free effect, Department of Foreign Policy. Oh. What next? Maybe barbed wire? Well, it's not very helpful. Cubism gives me more culture from the art gallery. Go-Kart traffic isn't very helpful. Water sports? Yeah, There's imperialism, which gives me plenty of wonders. Okay, yeah, it's the, well, okay, gyro compass. It's the old question of what should I research next now that all the real good stuff is gone. Because women's suffrage as well. I mean, I can't actually build the world wonder because you need republic or democracy. Yeah. I'm just gonna chalk it up as, since I have the anarchism, civic active, they've always had. Um, well, the equivalent to suffrage and anarchism. They always had the ability to participate in politics, I guess. It's probably the easiest way to put it. And the one that doesn't, uh, at least is still somewhat sensible. Yep. I'm probably going to send another settler here-ish, and then start filling in more stuff here, because this boot area needs to be handled, and then I also need to grab these interior spots. This part of this massive sea, and then start filling in here, and then up here, and then I can start conquering these cities for reals. There's so much space here, and then eventually Hati, which is researching water wheels. Sue's researching mountaineering. I believe mountaineering is medieval. Yeah, it's right here. So Sue's getting pretty close to being able to start selling cities in other locations. So I do need to speed things up along, maybe. I mean, in theory, they could already do that. Like, this area is still open. I don't see why they haven't bothered. It's just something that I'm not too sure about. But either way, I think I've gone on long enough. The age is slowly ending. I talked about ways of interpreting history, and why, while I don't think great man theories or materialism, dialectical materialism, are all that some people think they're cracked up to be, they have their places. They work under certain circumstances. After all, great man theory does make sense within a political structure built around, the very concept of great men, etc., etc. But things are starting to fill in politically, so that does mean that there are fewer and fewer spaces for barbarians to set themselves up. Next session, I should be able to start building stuff in Pasagede. And then the session after that, maybe in Persepolis. It depends on how fast I can get through sessions. Now that tech is coming in even faster than before, thanks to a buff to all cities, I might be able to manage 4 or even 5 techs in a session. The problem is that my sessions are going to get slower and slower in turn count. I am going to hit Atomic Lifestyle, I know that for sure. And then I'm going to need to think through what I want to do. Industrialism is a great idea because production, 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 production. Aluminum, specifically. Again, well, abstract mathematics just has wonders, which aren't nearly as good as the other options, especially since I still have built-in mathematics departments. I'll get to those someday. ArcSiv is a thing, you know. All the way over here. Perhaps I should really build that sooner rather than later. Eh. I'm way too busy building a production in multiple cities. Besides, I'm pretty sure I've already... No, I have not. There, I built a mathematics. Okay, I should be able to get a grade. Oh, in Lalibela. Okay. I've built so many cities, I don't remember which one that is. Over here, okay, that's actually one of the Ethiopia cities. I don't know, after the 40th city, they all start to blend together a bit. I remember each location and... Yeah, but... My memory can only hold so much. I think Pasogede, while not the perfect city, I would have preferred if they maybe moved the tile up. There's no way I can move it to the side though without losing the river. They're in a pretty good spot though. I'm gonna need a city around here-ish in order to properly fill things in. Another one either here right on the river or the mountain. I can do city planning another time. I'll see you again next time. Until then, bye.